Hey everyone, Rob here from Dudes and Dogs. Hope you are well. This is a really tough video for me to make, so bear with me if you would. We always accept that when we start a walk, at some point our dog dudes, they have other things that come up in their lives, and there's going to be a time when actually they need to focus on their other commitments other than the walks. And that's fine. And we're always really, really happy to see them go on their way and the growth and development they've made whilst being a dog dude. And it's a lovely, lovely thing. And it's part of the journey as well. But we're having to stop one of our walks over in Henley-On-Thames, and it's with a really heavy heart as well. I wouldn't normally come and do a video to thank people, but there's been reasons why that walk's been so important and the people involved with it as well. So I wanted to come and very publicly thank a few people, first of all. So, first of all, I want to thank Nick Poulton. Nick was the original dog dude in Henley-On-Thames. I met Nick really near the beginning of the process, and I felt like I met someone I made a real connection with, real similar soul, someone with quite similar personality traits, and someone I really looked up to as well. And throughout getting to know him over those couple of years, I've been fortunate enough to consider him a friend, and somewhat of a mentor to me as well. What Nick does in life is hugely impressive, and he will always be that sort of friend and mentor. And although I haven't seen him for a little while with everything he's had going on and everything I've had going on, really looking forward to catching up soon. But sadly, Nick's dog Otto, who is the second, I was going to say person, but the second part of the Dudes and Dogs family that I'd like to thank, was in a really nasty accident last year whilst out walking. From what we know, I think he was chasing a deer, and had a horrendous accident, and which ended up with a terrible leg break and back break as well. And Nick very nearly lost Otto. He's been on an incredible path of recovery, and he's done amazing, and he's back out and about. But the fact is, Otto will never be well enough to join the Dudes and Dogs walks again. And Nick and Otto always came as a package, and we always knew that. So thank you to Otto for bringing Nick to us. Thank you for introducing him to me. And a huge thank you to Nick for all the hard work he's put into that walk. And I'm going to talk about the walk as well afterwards, because actually we have a responsibility there with some of the guys that we've helped, and I don't want to let that drop. So I'll come back to that in a second. So Otto, thank you for bringing Nick to us. Thank you for rescuing Nick as well to some extent. The closeness that those two have and the bond they have is beautiful to watch. And as I say, when Nick sent me a message to say he couldn't come back because of Otto this weekend, I knew it was coming, but it didn't mean it didn't hurt. Now, the final person I need to thank in all this is a gentleman called Paul as well, Paul Redstone. Paul Redston, sorry, I always pronounce his name right. I'm sorry, Paul. Paul was a walker for a long time within that community, in that group. And when Otto had his accident and Nick had to step back, Paul stepped in so the walk didn't just disappear. That was a big responsibility. He was already coming on board as a dog dude and ready to take on Reading, but he was kind of just thrown in at the deep end to manage an area which had actually some quite serious support that we needed to provide as well. Paul was got other stuff going on with his life, with his family, with his work, and it's becoming too much for him to carry on doing the Dudes and Dogs role as it is at the moment. And again, we're gutted to lose Paul, but had Paul not stepped in the way he did, this walk would have stopped long ago. So it's a huge thank you to Paul as well for stepping in as you did, mate, and covering the walk. And I wish you all the best, and hopefully we'll see you on a walk again very soon. So big thanks to Otto for introducing Nick and being there for Nick throughout the journey. Huge thanks to Nick for being there for me, for being there for Otto for his recovery, and for being there most of all for all the guys you've helped on the walk. And Paul, thank you to you for making sure that walk could keep going. Sadly, we're at a point now where the walk's going to have to go on hold until we can find a new dog dude. And The only way we're going to find a new dog dude is by getting funding from that area to support it, because we can no longer keep subsidising the cost of setting up new walks, identifying a new dog dude every time. It's always come from our pocket. That isn't a sustainable model, and that's why we're going after funding. So if anyone is watching this who has connections within that Henley-On-Thames area, within the councils in the area, any sort of government contact, anyone that works in the mental health area that might be able to help and point us in the right direction, please reach out and get in touch, because it's really important we don't let that walk go. There are guys on that walk that we have. Ultimately, what we're here to do within Dudes and Dogs is offer a peer-to-peer support to guys that come on our walks, and signpost where necessary, where they need further support. There's guys on that walk that we have needed to signpost for further support rather urgently, and we've had amazing support from the mental health team in the area when we have. There has also been people join that walk with quite serious dependencies, and really battling some big mental health demons, and that walk has been their lifeline, and that's their words, not mine. There's people that's joined that walk who need that walk every week for their connection, for their mental health, for their well-being, for that support. And it's really, really vital we don't let that walk drop off. So this is, one, a very public thank you to Nick, to Otto and to Paul for getting the walk to this stage and creating the success story of the Dudes and Dogs walks. Two, is a shout out to anyone involved in the mental health arena or within the council who can help us get in touch with the right people so we can get the funding in place, find some new dog dudes, identify them, get them trained and get them leading a walk ASAP, so we can make sure we carry on supporting that community as we have done for the last 2.5 years. Peace out.